Hi everyone. I'm delighted to be here with the North East Young Dads and Lads project, and we're going to talk about governance and different ways of engaging new people as part of your board of trustees. So I've got a really talented group of people here today, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So we have Jordan, who is a trustee with the Young Dads and Lads project. We have Will, who is vice chair. We're joined by Jonah, who's the peer support and education officer for Young Dads and Lads, and Stephen, who's chair. So thank you all for being here today, and I'm really looking forward to learning from you about your guidance on organisations engaging more younger people, thinking about younger dads on their boards of trustees, and yeah, let's have a lovely conversation. So what I'm interested in is what your experience is of being a trustee within the Young Dads and Lads project.
And that kind of stuff, and what goes into like an actual charity. So how they keep the charity running, what kind of stuff to choose to be on top of the charity all the time to keep it going, and the type of like people that they need, or with like say the type of people are like good for that charity, so they know what they're doing and they've had kind of a little bit of experience in that sort of charity. So that's kind of like my experience.
Brilliant. It's giving you a different sort of insight into how a charity operates.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Does anyone else have any other comments on that?
Yeah. For me, it was obviously I was clueless at first when I came to join the board. I didn't have a clue what any of it meant really. Obviously, past 2 years or so, obviously spoken more about it. But main reason I joined the board anyway is because obviously they were massive support to me. So obviously return the favour in that way in one sense, if you know what I mean. But obviously mainly I learned the roles a bit, obviously the vice chair, obviously if Stephen's not there, obviously I'm filling, so on and so on. So with me it's more down to that one role, mainly what I've been focused on learning about. So it's fairly simple for me.
That's brilliant. And how long had you been involved with Young Dads and Lads before you took on a board role?
I was involved with them about 1.5 years. And then obviously one of the people, Kev, he suggested it to us, obviously about the trustees. And then I was just obviously joined as a trustee and working my way up. So
brilliant. Thanks. That's great. And Stephen, what's it like having somebody or a team of people on the board who really understand what it is that is needed from the board of trustees in terms of the decision making?
I think it's really, I mean, I can't stress how important that is in a way, because as a board, a board is gifting its time into an organisation, so it has a vested interest and it should understand the roles and responsibilities of the organisation that you're a trustee of. However, having people with the kind of lived experience mixed into the board and having gone through the services and understanding what works and what doesn't, it creates a kind of connection, really, I think, between the staff team and the board. You've got this kind of middle bit as well, which is really fluid. It blurs roles slightly, but I think that's a fantastic blurring because you don't have a them and us. And I think that's so critical. And I think any board should have representation of its users on it. For us, that happens to be young people, that happens to be young dads, that happens to be, therefore that's the makeup of our connection of having young people, young dads, people who've used our services on the board.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, and it sounds like such a vibrant board, and the work that you achieve as an organisation, I think it shines through that actually the decision making comes from a place of people who actually understand what the organisation needs to be doing. So that's really great. And based on your experience as board members with Young Dads and Lads, what would your feelings be now about considering a role as a trustee with another organisation? Is it something you've considered, or is it something that you might be interested in, do you think, in the future?
Maybe in the future wise, yes, but at the minute, everything like I say is for me personally is focused towards obviously the young dads. Like obviously the way I look at it is the young dads when it comes to even like the board meetings and stuff like that. It's not like a get formal where you have to be all this and that. Like everybody's more friendly, more or less with each other, more like good friends.
Yeah.
So it's like in one sense it's like a second family in one way. So obviously at the minute, I'm quite happy sticking with the young dads, but further down the line, maybe yes.
Yeah. I don't know, Jordan, have you had any thoughts about other roles in the future?
I'm just kind of the same as well, really. It's like if I don't really know the company or whatever, I wouldn't join it. But if I knew it a little bit, then I might consider it.
Yeah, and you know the skills that you have now as a board member and in terms of making decisions at that sort of level within an organisation. So all of
Yeah.
the experience you've got would be so transferable to
Yeah.
another organisation. Yeah, no, that's really, really useful. I don't know, Jonah, have you got any thoughts about kind of about this whole sort of theme, really?
Yeah, I think what's really important, and I think what the Northeast Young Lads and Dads have done in terms of getting these young dads to be trustees is kind of create that relationship between young people or between someone who might be interested in your company, whether you know them or not. And I think that's the important things that companies and organizations should be trying to do. So we were fortunate enough to like work with, you know, Will and Jordan, and then be, you know, brilliant examples of what young dads are. So therefore it was a very easy decision for us to, you know, make them trustees. But I think, you know, every company or organization should look for active members of the community that will help them have a modern and relevant voice within their company, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, what would you say that other organisations could do to make their board roles more appealing, more accessible, or just kind of more inviting? Really, is there any advice you give, do you think, to other charities?
I would say make it less formal, really.
I'd say the no pressure role, more or less. Like we weren't obliged, more or less, to, you know, like think maybe yes, we'll have to do this sort of thing. It was more like actual giving us a choice.
Yeah. So just kind of if you feel like an organisation is going to be sort of they're going to operate in a way that makes you feel comfortable. So if a more informal style is what you would prefer, that it would be an organisation that was more flexible and gave that informality, they would be more attractive to you in terms of the style of governance. Is that kind of, does that sort of sound about?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I'm sure that sort of because of the sort of the lived experience that you're bringing to this organisation, in actual fact, the skills that you'll have been learning as a trustee here, are there skills you can identify as thinking, actually, that's what I would offer to another organisation, as well as the experience that I have as a young dad?
Well, mainly at the minute, I just kind of say like I'm the spokesperson for young dads, because I've done like loads of talking in front of people, and we've been on the radios and stuff like that. So I kind of just say I like to speak in front of people and let the word out, kind of thing.
And that's no small thing to be confident at doing, speaking in public. Like that's a huge skill to have gained as a trustee and in other aspects of your life as well. But that's a huge skill to transfer to any new experience. So that's really great. I don't know, Stephen, have you got any thoughts about that?
So I totally agree with Jonah's point, but I suppose just following on from what Jordan said, I think it's a really critical point about trusteeship. And I think for some organizations and some people's sort of logic, they think about trusteeship as almost at the end of their career, and gifting back in and sharing skills back in. And I think for us as Northeast Young Dads and Lads, there are elements of that, don't get me wrong. We have a very skilled set of board members with a range of skills through in different levels and different points of their career. But actually, we need to recognise that trusteeship can do the other thing as well. It can support people to develop new skills and new competencies and confidence, and almost come the other way as well. And I think that's a really kind of a really good equal mix. And I think the thing to recognise in any board is that people are gifting their time. And I say that a lot. And you have to decide as a board, are you going to put a lot of jobs on people because that might eat away at the time? Or are you going to be more flexible? Are you going to be more friendly? Is it formal? Is it... All these little things need quite a lot of consideration. Just they're micro, but they're so important because they give the flavour of what you are as an organisation.
Yeah, Definitely. Yeah, no, that's really, really helpful. And it's lovely to hear that from a chair of an organisation. And certainly sort of at the start of my trustee journey, has so many people who supported me to learn. And that is exactly what kept me wanting to be a trustee and be interested in governance. So yeah, no, that's really great. A huge thank you. Thanks for taking part in this event. It's so brilliant to work with you as part of Trustee Match at Community Foundation. And I really look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. Thanks, all of you.
You too. Thanks
All right.
very much.
Very
Cheers.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.